Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the distributive property of multiplication. It's one of my favorite strategies to use whenever you have really big multiplication problems. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start off, the distributive property really comes from the word distribute. And the word distribute means to share. So in the distributive property, we're going to be sharing multiplication between two arrays, and I'll show you how that's done. All right, so let's try it with this array. Whenever I label arrays, my first thought is to put my numbers down. First the rows, which are going this way. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. And then I'll do the columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And thanks to Miss Sloan, I found a really fast way to write a multiplication sentence. So I'll do 5 times 4. And knowing my rule of 5, I know that I can do this really quick. I can skip count with 5 and I'll get the answer of 20. Right. When we use the distributive property, what we're doing is we're taking a multiplication equation, like 5 times 4, and we're going to split it up. We're actually going to chop it up. So, in order to do that, I'm going to get rid of my original labels. I'm going to take my super cool, awesome, and magical ninja hand, and I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to cut and chop it right there. Now I want all of you to really notice that I did not get rid of any of the tiles. All of them are still there. I am not magic. I'm not a magician. I'm just doing distributive property. What I'm doing here is I'm taking the columns, or the number 4, and I'm putting it into 2 different spaces. This one has 1 and this one has 3 columns. And when you put them back together, they make 4 columns. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a separate array for each one of the sections. And I'm going to put them inside of parentheses. I do parentheses because I want everybody to know that this array has a house or its own little home, and this array has its own little home as well. Now in this array, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 column. So I have 5 times 1. My own little house for it. I have my second part of the total array, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns. 5 times 3. All I'm doing is splitting that 4 up. I have 2 beautiful arrays, but I always have to remember that when I put them together back in their happy homes, they make a beautiful 5 times 4 array. So I'll put a little addition sign right there in the middle so that I know exactly where I'm adding them back together. Now, if I was given a problem just like this, I would know that I have to first do this multiplication problem. Then I have to do this multiplication problem. Then I can add the 2 answers together because of this plus sign. So let's see if we still get 20. Here's my checkpoint on UPS check. 5 times 1, we know identity property. 1 is done, so the answer would be 5. I'm going to bring down my plus sign, and I'm going to do 5 times 3. And I know my 5s because I can skip count, so I'll skip count 3 times. 5, 10, 15. And now I know that 5 plus 15 does indeed equal 20. So this is how distributive works. Works really well when you have very big numbers to multiply together. Works really well if you need to break something apart. But remember, if you break it apart, you got to put it back together. All right, we're going to practice a couple more times, different multiplication sentences. Get those tiles ready. Get your ninja hand ready to chop it up. And don't forget, you have to put it all back together. All right, have a great time at math today.